That's what everyone says.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yep. Hey, everybody.
Oh, I didn't record. Hopefully Pat's on it.
Now that we're doing a little bit anyway. You want to get out and back in?
What?
Might as well. Come on.
Okay, we'll be back
Since we're
in
here.
one.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Hey, welcome everyone.
We're back. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're so excited. Can't believe championship is this week.
I know, and this is always my most favorite show of the whole year, the championship preview show, with all these awesome guests, and I have to talk the least amount of the entire season. So
It's the highlight
Yeah.
of our season, definitely. But thank you guys for tuning in. If it's your first time, welcome. We do this weekly, but better late than never. Glad you guys could join us. My name's Mike, and this is Justin.
What's up?
Sup?
What's up?
All right, so obviously we say this every week, but you can connect with us on Twitter and on email. I think it's going across the bottom of the screen. So you can send us an email with any questions, or you can tweet us with any questions or anything like that. So please do that. We'd love to take some questions in between our special guests tonight. Speaking of which, we have some very special guests on our show tonight that Justin can tell you about.
I can tell them about.
I just thought you wanted to say something.
Well, we're obviously very excited to have them all. You know who they are on Chief Delphi in our thread, and we'll kind of introduce them kind of as we go. Yeah. So we can run through the order. You want to run through the order that we're gonna talk about?
Sure.
So I think Galileo is gonna go first, right?
Start with Galileo.
Then we're gonna go to Newton.
Newton.
Then we're
That's
gonna
for the
hit.
bomb squad.
Then we're gonna hit Curie. Then we're gonna hit Archimedes. Got a few things to talk about in between speakers to break it up just a little bit. But other than that, we expect a great show. And so one thing I want to mention before we get started here is we have some shirts, some new shirts in our Spreadshirt store. I don't have the link.
It's down there. I think it's all the way at the very bottom. Right there. All the way at the very bottom.
There it is. We have the final FRC Top 25 for 2013. We have a shirt that was designed by Shannon, a student on our team, that we think is really sharp looking. So if you want to pick that up, it's in our store. Really excited about that.
Yeah, there's been we've gotten like 6 or 7 orders already, or something like that. Maybe 6, 7, 8 orders on those. We put up a whole bunch of other ones. We have our Mimer Mamu shirt and a whole bunch of other ones up there. So
People are like Mimer Mamu.
Mimer Mamu. I don't know what Mimer Mamu. So go ahead and check that out. Big thanks to 221 Robotic Systems for sponsoring us this year. They've just been able, through their sponsorship, we've just been able to buy the GoPro, which has been a huge addition to our show this year. So you can head on over to their website. We're going to put that up. You can click on that too. We have some cool stuff, some Swerve modules, already built drivetrains, all sorts of products. So go ahead and check them out.
So speaking of GoPro, our GoPro is something we hope to utilize quite a bit at Championship. If you haven't been to our YouTube channel yet, we have some segments over there that we use the GoPro to film. We have a dash cam, behind the bumpers, and behind the glass, the 3 kind of our new segments for this year. So Mike and I are going to be at Championship, so if you want to take part in one of those segments, any or all of those segments, send us an email so we can start coordinating that. We're not looking for only powerhouses. If you wanna do it, we'd be happy to do it with you. Why?
There we go.
You struggling?
There we go. So you can click on that link, and that should bring you to our channel. So please send us an email. I think, is that what you just said? I was distracted. I can't do that. Send us an email. We'll send you a link to a form you can fill out. We already got like 4 or 5 teams interested. We'd love to get a whole bunch more. So
Can you click on that link? Because I can't.
I don't know if you can click on that in the preview.
Maybe they could. Oh yeah.
Cool. So, and again, thank you to all our supporters throughout the year this year. We guys really couldn't do it without you. So just thank you so much.
We wouldn't want to do it without them.
Yeah.
Like the community that we kind of have, the FC community has just been great for us for now. Wrapping up our 3rd year doing this.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
But we really love doing it, and we love the support that we have. But
so we said this last year, but so obviously we're going to be in St. Louis. Please, if you see us, please come up and say hi. Just say you watched the show or whatever. Introduce yourself. It was so cool walking around last year, and I just started keeping a list of everybody that had come up to us, and it was just like it was really long, and it was just really, really encouraging and really awesome to meet all you guys and just really connect base, connect usernames with people and stuff. It was awesome. So if you see Justin or I around, please come say hi. We'll definitely be together most of the time this year. Justin, I was sometimes separated from Justin last year since he was on drive team, but so we'll definitely always be together. So it'll be fun.
I'm probably around Curie a lot, but yeah. So also, if you come up and say hi, we're gonna have a bunch of top 25 stickers on us. So if you want one, just come up and grab one from us. And if you are in the final top 25, keep an eye out for us. We'll be in your pit at some point. Right there.
Kristen, could you grab those?
Assistant.
And again, as we always say every week, thanks to Pat and Kristen for helping us out behind the scenes.
No, we don't want those. The stickers. They'll be also with us at championship.
Oh, you can hand us one of those too.
Yep, that bag is what we want right there.
And the shirt. And
what is this?
that's just ones we can hand out. So we'll have 2 or 3 shirts that we're gonna bring with us to championship. We might do some things. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. We might just say, hey, we're we're in Curie, in the Curie pits at Pit Administration. Come find us if you want some stickers or a shirt or something like that. So here's the stickers we got made. We're going to obviously cut them out and hand them out to all the teams. So they are made and ready to be given. So
who? Julie, a 1983 designed that for us?
Yes.
So we thank her for that.
Thank you to Julie from the Skunkworks.
Skunkworks Robotics. Also, nothing makes Mike and I happier more than getting t-shirts. So if you want t-shirts, if you want to give us t-shirts, great. If you want us to buy t-shirts and they're available, I'm gonna bring some money with us to buy shirts. Accumulating shirts is something that is a really cool part of FRC for me. So, and if you're interested in trading shirts, let me know. And we'll be happy to wear them on the show. I've kind of run through all the shirts I have, so I'm kind of back to this. And Mike kind of broke the whole robotics paradigm and went baseball on us. But, all right.
You remember. Okay, so with no further ado, we're gonna just jump right into divisions here. We're gonna talk first to Anupam Goalie. He has graciously volunteered to cover Galileo for us. So we're gonna give the floor to him. He's gonna run through his thing, and then when he's done, we'll talk about it ourselves. Okay, doke. So again, thanks to Anupam for doing this for us. It's gonna be great.
And he is from 1648.
Yes.
So,
Sorry. Gotta make sure I do the right video, right camera. I think it's the second.
Just click the preview.
I did.
Oh, I can do it then.
All right, cool.
Wrong one.
That is funny. Sorry, Aaron.
We're having trouble with his webcam. We can see him, but
for some reason it's not. Anupam, if you want to try to cue yourself over, maybe that will work. If you click on the cue button where you see your webcam, And then towards the middle of the screen, you'll see that transition to queued clip.
We're back. So we give this one more go, and if not, we'll move on to Newton, and then we'll see if Anupam gets us going.
Karthik with his zinger.
What do you say?
Don't worry, that's how we found Einstein last year. He's frozen too.
Oh.
Anupam. Anupam, if you want to try to log out and then log back in, we're going to move on to, who's next, Tyler or Aaron? I think Aaron's next.
It's Tyler's next.
Or Tyler's next?
Yep.
All right, Tyler. So sorry to put you on the spot. He's ready to go. So we're going to try this. So Tyler Olds from Wave Robotics 2826 is going to cover the Newton division. So we don't really know what's going on at this point. We tested all these before the show and got everyone working before. So Tower, if you want to, we're not going to click anything. If you want to try. It's really strange. So, Tower, we're not going to touch anything. If you want to click Q to your own camera and then click the flashing pink button in the middle, maybe you can try to get that to work on your end. Sometimes it takes a few times hitting the Q button.
Aaron and Jim are good. Pat said Aaron and Jim are good. The other two don't have previews.
Yeah, so
How did I get back on here?
He's cute. I would ask.
Okay. Woo.
Keeping it
Oh.
exciting.
This is a train wreck. Okay. So what do you want to?
Aaron was ready, but apparently he wasn't ready.
All right. This is Aaron from
Okay.
772, and he's covering the Curie division for us. I know we did a whole lot of prep work to get ready for this, and I'm going to cue over to him, and it's going to go perfectly.
Yay! Okay. First off, I had to mention how boss 1923 is. Libby told me I had to, so there it goes, Libby. Curry. The average OPR here is 28.9. I think it's the second highest in all of champs. The average max OPR is 37.4, which is also pretty high. The team with the highest OPR is 2056. They have 98.7, and that was at Waterloo, and they hold the top 3 highest OPR positions in the division. The top 10 OPR teams in the division would be 2056 with the first place. Second is 1717. Third is 67. Fourth is 359. Fifth is 148. Sixth is 862. Seventh is 1983. Eighth is 1421. Ninth is 2145. And last and 10th is 1706. So here are some teams that I think will be able to do really well, and you should maybe keep an eye on. Is the first one, 2056, OP Robotics. They have a record of 51 wins and 2 losses. They're regional winners at GTR East, Waterloo, and GTR West. They have a 7-disc auto and have a very quick floor pickup, a 10-point climb, and a quick, consistent shooter. Next would be Team 67, Team Hot. 40 wins, 13 losses, and they were finalists at the Michigan State Championship and Troy District event. They have a full-court shooter, and they sometimes cycle when they're blocked, like in Michigan. Very quick 30-point climb and 20-point dump. 1717 is the next. They're the Penguineers. A record of 28 wins, 3 losses, and winners of Las Vegas and Los Angeles regionals. 10-point climb, 7-disc auto, and floor pickup, swerve drive. Next is 3539 Fighting Bulldogs. 37 wins, 17 losses, and 1 tie. Winners of Michigan State Championship and finalists at Troy and Waterford. They have a floor pickup and 7-disc auto. Their hopper is pretty interesting. It's like a magazine, and then they have a 10-point climb. Team 16 Baxter Bomb Squad. They were 2012 World Champions, and for 2013 they have a record of 26 and 21 losses. They have a swerve drive, which I believe is much like last year's, a 30-point climb, and a 20-point dump. I'm not sure how reliable it has been, but I know they did it in their release video. 148 Robo Wranglers. They have a full-court shooter, 30-point climb, and 20-point dump. The 2013 record is 37 wins, 10 losses. And they haven't made it to Einstein since 2008 when they were world champions with 11-14 and 217. Which is pretty surprising, but they've been a really consistent team lately. 233 Pink Team made it to Einstein last year with 207 and 987, and they were finalists. This year they're 27 and 18, finalists in Orlando with 125 and 44-51, and they lost in their third match. I know they've been making improvements in their last few competitions, and they're expected to do pretty well at Champs again this year. 1503 Spartonics. They were last on Einstein in 2011, and this year they have a very different robot compared to some of the teams. It's more like a catapult and shoots all 4 discs at once, or a slingshot, I guess it would be a better way to put it. 234 Cyber Blue is 28 and 8. They were winner at Crossroads with 868 and 1647. Finalists at Boilermaker. They're a human loader, 10-point climb. And next, Hawaiian Kids, 359, 48 and 5. Winners at Boilermaker in Utah. Finalists at Hawaii. They're a very fast and consistent shooter, 10-point climb. 1310 Runnymede Robotics. They're 23 and 13, 7-disc auto, and has proven to work very well, sometimes better than 2056. 10-point climb. They're able to full court shoot, but mainly do cycles. Finalists at GTR West in Waterloo against Canadian powerhouses 1114 and 2056. 1918 was also a very good robot. They won Troy District and have a 7-disc auto and a 50-point climb and dump. 3138, 16 and 12. They made it to Einstein in their rookie year, which was 2010, with 2056 and 1625. I'm looking to get back there again this year. 1678 Citrus Circuits, 21 and 13. 5-disc auto at CVR, and possibly can pull off a 7-disc auto. They were winners at Central Valley Regional. 1983 Skunkworks. They have 4 banners this year, which is incredible. A chairman's at Seattle and 3 regional winners. 40 wins, 11 losses. They had a floor pickup, 7-disc auto, and 10-point hanger. They usually cycled though. 435, the Robo Dogs were 22 and 3 and were undefeated at North Carolina Regional. They lost once in once in the qualifications all season, twice in the quarterfinals in Palmetto. Next here, there's a whole bunch of teams that were run regional this year. 620, they're Warbots. They were Pittsburgh regional champions. 862, Lightning Robotics won 2 districts, Kettering and West Michigan. 967, Iron Lions. They won at North Star and only lost 1 match in the regional in the finals. 1288, finalists twice at Crossroads and another in St. Louis. 1421, winners at Razorback and finalists at Bayou. 1541, winners at Virginia Regional. 1708, Chesapeake Regional winners. 2062, Lake Superior Regional winners. 2489 were winners at Sacramento. 2638 were the Chesapeake Regional winners. So in Curry, there's 15 rookies. There's 3 of those which were regional champions, and 1 was a finalist. The regional champions were 4576 Red Nation Robotics, and they won Smoky Mountains Regional. They went 12 and 6 this season. 4610 Beartex. They won Dallas and are 12 and 5 this year. And 4814 United Robotics of London. They won at GTR West. The finalists were 4716, the Purple Raiders. They were finalists at GTR West and were 8 and 9. Next here are the predictions that I have for Curry. So I'm thinking 2056 will seed first and pick the 3rd place team, 67, who will do mainly full court shots, but when blocked will try and do cycles. 2056 will have their 7-disc auto working perfectly by finals, and the Alliance will likely have a consistent 72-point auto. They will likely have a 3rd partner who can shoot 3 in auto and then have a good enough drivetrain to keep 67 shooting. 67 will get their drive perfectly get their drive perfect, getting them the 30-point climb and dump. This alliance should see scores of 200 to 250 consistently, as they will score 72 in auto, 163 disc points, and 50 climb points. If cracked, they will max out at 285, not including discs from the other alliance, as 2056 can go on the other side and grab discs that the other alliance missed. Second seed, I believe 1717 will get there with their high auto points. They'll pick 148 because of their full court shooter and 50-point climb and dump. They will have a very similar strategy to 2056 and 67, though 148 being so tall, they won't need to pick a robot to keep their path clear for full court shooting. Instead, their partner will be playing a defense against the other full court shooter or stopping teams from climbing and dumping. I'm thinking the finals will likely be decided in 3 matches between these two alliances, the matches being so close that they may be decided by 10 or less points, some being penalties. I think OP and Hot will take the victory and move on to Einstein. On Einstein, I'm thinking that Curry will defeat Archimedes and Galileo will defeat Newton, and hoping that 1114 is the winner of Galileo, moving on to Einstein. So that would mean 2056 and 1114 will be playing each other in the finals on Einstein, which would be an incredible show to be putting on. Okay, I think that's all for me from Curry. I'm not sure if anyone has something from the chat. Yeah, I think that's good.
He's got it! He's got it! Oh! Justin and I had a little bet going on if Aaron was going to have Tim Hortons or not. And I won. Timmy's?
Timmy's? Can I get some Timbits? But Aaron, great job, man. That was awesome. Curry's going to be insane, and I agree with your prediction. I think a 2056-67 alliance is going to be really, really powerful, just because Curry has a lot of powerhouse teams, but doesn't seem to have a lot of 30-point climbers. Not that, I don't know, not that there's a lot really good ones there to begin with, but with 67 out of the mix, it doesn't really leave a fast 30-point climber, or too many of them at least. 1986 is there obviously as well, but the you know, a 2056-67 alliance versus like a 1986, you know,
not in there. I don't know what you saw.
Or 1983, sorry.
Yeah. 1983 and the Hawaiian Kids, or it's gonna play out. I mean, there's a lot of teams in there, like Runnymede in there, and Pascack. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of. I think that 7, 8, 9. I mean, that 1, 2, 3, 4 alliances are really gonna stack up with those other powerhouses, but 7, 8, 9 is gonna have a lot of robots to choose from. They're gonna have a lot of, good, well-rounded alliances down there at the end that are going to give those 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds like a good run for their money. So.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I try to listen as close as I could, but sometimes we were trying to get some other stuff done. But I think for a dark horse pick, I think 968 really has a chance to.
The Rock of West Covina.
The Rock of West Covina. Like, they haven't had a great season so far, even though they won Inland Empire Regional. I think they were a 3rd pick, though. I shouldn't have said that because I'm really not sure. But their team that has had some mentor loss recently, but they're a good team. They know how to win, and I really think they could find themselves in a situation where they could really be a benefit to one of those mid-tier alliances.
Okay, so we're gonna try to go back to Tyler Olds to go next. He's ready. I think we got his camera ready to go now. Hopefully, so.
Hey, we're good, guys. Thanks for having me on so much. I'm going to be talking about the Newton division here. And, let's talk first about Newton and all the wonderful predictions we've had on Chief Delphi so far. Now, all you guys are looking at Newton saying, you know what, those guys aren't going to get out of semifinals. And I looked at, Chief Delphi throw that had championship predictions, and I believe there was 2 only 2 people that predicted that Noon would take it out of the semifinals in Einstein. And I got to tell you that I think it's going to be a little bit different, and we're going to go over why. So let's talk about Noon. What's going to win Noon overall? We definitely have some great teams here, but to me, it's going to be all about autonomous modes. We have a lot of teams that have great autonomous modes, quite a few that have multiple disc autonomous modes as well, so we'll look into that. We have quite a few full court shooters on our field as well too, but one of the things you're going to see as I go through some of these picks here is that while we do have a lot of full court shooters, there are also going to be a couple of issues with those potentially. One big thing is this drivetrains. If you look at some of the teams who won regionals, as we start to go up to a championship level, some teams are going to have drivetrains where I think they're going to have a little bit of issues coming over to the feeder station. So we'll look into that as well. From climbers and dumpers, we only really have a couple in our division that are going to be, I believe, strong, and I have them in some of my sleepers as well, so we'll check that out. I'm going to be taking more of a looking forward approach for this, so I'm going to give you some locks, tips, sleepers, and honorable mentions here on the Noon division. But let's talk first about match schedules. Now, that preliminary match schedule that first got put out that pretty much turned Chief Delvi into a giant soap opera about how things are going to go, if it stays that way, you're potentially looking at where, we're going to have teams like 1986, with 5 match wins. Who the heck would ever thought that before? And it's really interesting to see how that's going to work out. Now, do I believe 1986 is going to have 5 wins? Absolutely not. I think they're going to be doing better than that. But it is quite interesting to see the way the OPR works out. Now, we all know OPR is a little bit different between each regional. But, it could always work out one way or another for the teams. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about some of the what I believe are locks, tips, sleepers, and honorable mentions. If your team's not mentioned on here, no harm done against them. It's just who I feel really stood out to me. And like I said, for me, we'll be talking about full court shooters. There's only a couple that I believe are going to stand out because I believe if they don't change their drivetrains, that might have some issues running to the elims. So first off, we're going to start with some of our locks. The number 1 lock, you guys all know about it, is 1986. Now, while their regional or their match schedule might not be the most optimal thing to go with, I mean, look at them. I mean, they're a fantastic team. They're probably the only team so far that I've seen that is absolutely consistent at 7-disc auto and every single time they play. A couple hiccups here and there, but even from some of the other teams, like another team we'll be talking about, 2054, even they had a little bit of troubles with 7-disc, and I believe that 1986 is going to have a lot of success with that. Like I said, I think autonomous modes, obviously, is your first tiebreaker, so if they're going to seed well, they're going to be picked really well, so we'll go into that. 1986 overall, your only 3 regional winner, if I'm correct. I could be a little bit off there, but max OPR of 80.87 is quite impressive on the field. I love their passive intake system. It's amazing how well that works with that overall lifting up into there. I think it's a fantastic thing. They're cranking out about 6 runs a match, which is absolutely amazing. Their shortness allows them to go through the pyramid, and of course, the 30-point hanger as well. The hanger, the climber that they have, it's going to be interesting to see how well it's actually utilized. I believe they're going to, if they get the right alliance partner, they're going to be cycling through pretty much all the discs, regardless of if it's full court shooter or not. So it'll be interesting to see if 1986 is going to be utilizing that 30-point climb, or if they're going to find other ways to go about it. So I believe that 1986 is going to be a definite lock on Newton. The other lock I have on this field is going to be team number 2054, Tech Vikes. Now, Tech Vikes had fantastic seeding at Michigan Championship, and I believe that they're going to be making a few improvements to revamp their shooter. They had a little bit of issues with their shooter, and even with autonomous sometimes being a little bit inconsistent. However, I believe this is something they're going to lock down. They show that they're going to have potentially 7 match wins based off of OPR calculations, so that should seat them up pretty high, and they're still making about 4 to 5 runs per match. Now, this could be a great complement with a full court shooter or with another team who does runs very well, as they have a great intake that they can stay at the front of the field. So those are going to be my 2 locks over on the Newton field. My next one, I have some different tips. These are going to be in no particular order. First thing I'm going to start out with, who I believe personally is the best full court shooter, that's going to be team number 225, Techfire. Now, the reason I believe this is not only are they accurate overall once they get locked in, but out of the match videos I watched for them, they were probably the most consistent at getting back to the feeder station the quickest, especially against teams that were defending them. So high OPR of 67. They're going to crank out about 20 full court shots in a match with defense against them. So, you know, that's the biggest thing is that there's always going to be defense. They do have a 10-point climber. But once again, with all of them, you know, we'll see about center of gravities and how that works out for them. Another team that I'm going to be looking at, yes, 225 did get shut down by D. That's very true, but a lot of the full court shooters did, including 67. Keep that in mind. Another team I'm going to be looking at is team number 1676, Pascack Pioneers. To me, they have to be the most accurate shooter I've seen in first so far. Doing a great job of, you know, that lifting mechanism they have that gets them up in the air, I think is fantastic. They're making about 4 to 5 runs per match. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Fighting Pie. My apologies in a second. But Pascack Pioneers, very consistent scoring. Yeah, I just figured that out. Very consistent scoring overall. And winners of one regional so far. They're a short robot that goes back and forth, which is fantastic. And I think they're going to be a great tip to look at in a high seeder. We'll talk about Fighting Pie next since I just messed that up. Fighting Pie 1718. They're the shooter that rises up in the air. And like I said, personally, I think they are the most accurate shooter overall that I've seen so far. Every time they lift up in the air, I mean, they've just taken away so much of that gap that in shooting that they just make it every time. They're getting, 4 to 5 runs as well. No intakes, so it'll be interesting to see how they're picked like that. 1538, Holy Cows, another tip for me. I believe they're going to see quite well. I believe if they can get their 7-disc autonomous down, that's what's going to help them out a lot. Now, one of the things that I've seen with them is that their drivetrain, for me, they seem a little bit slower than what I've seen them in previous years. So we'll see how that works out for them. But having the intake, having the multi-disc shooter, I think is going to be quite well for them, and I think they're going to see quite well too. I believe they're the 1 of 2 teams that are predicted to do 8 match wins on the field. Another tip, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit for team number 2826, Wave Robotics. I've been finalist the last couple of years, and I believe that we have a great potential to kick it up a notch. We'll be posting a little bit of video about 5-disc auto in a little bit from the center line, and I believe we'll be the quickest on the field. So take a look at that. We also have a 10-point hanger as well, too. So I'm going to move on and not talk about our team too much. You can look it up on CD. My other tip, too, it might be a little bit of a surprise, but I believe that team number 341, Miss Daisy, I think they're trying to squeeze through the gaps a little bit here, and I think that they're going to improve quite a bit between their last regional and championships. They had a little bit of issues even going into Las Vegas, but I believe that they're going to get things working quite well as they go into championships, including their 7-disc auto. I think their teleop might be okay as well, and I think that the more they can improve, I think they have a good chance of seating quite high. All right, that's going to be it for my tips. Let's move on to some of my sleeper picks here. My first sleeper pick is going to be a couple of robots that look quite similar to each other, and that's going to be team number 2052 and 1985. That's Nightcrawler and RoboHawks. Those are a couple teams that have Mecanum wheels and shoot quite well. They're getting about 5 runs per match in our 10-point hangers and are getting autonomous quite well, too. Another team is going to be team number 2471, Team Mean Machine. They're going to be, like I said, one of the sleeper picks that could be coming back later around. And they are a full court shooter. Once they get lined up, they're pretty accurate. But once again, I think that they could be a pretty good second-round pick. That's kind of what a lot of these sleepers are. 3476 Code Orange is, I believe, a team that I actually think they're a sleeper who could actually seed quite well. Now, they have a pretty tough match schedule coming up, so that'll be interesting. But they are a multi-disc auto. They're also getting potential for 7-disc. I know they released that video for that, so we'll see if they can get that locked down. But I think if they can, they'll be good, and they have that active intake that will help them out. Another team to look at is going to be team number 2252, the Mavericks. They have about 4 to 5 runs per match. They're a multi-disc auto team. I think they have a really good chance of getting their auto down and to start improving their runs. And I liked how they maneuvered over the field, and I think they'll do pretty well. My last team that I believe could be a sleeper is team number 1640, Sabotage. I love their sword drive. I love how accurate they are. They're a little bit slower to shoot than some of the other teams I've seen, but I think that swerve drive is going to pan out very well for them. The more practice they get, I think the better off they're going to be. So look for them potentially seed quite high on Newton. All right, couple honorable mentions for you guys, and then we'll wrap things up here. My first honorable mention is going to be team number 2851, Crevolution. I believe that they're going to get, I think, more multi-disc auto down. I think they're going to be ending up a little bit better than what they did in their regionals overall. They do have a regional win, but they seem to have a little bit of struggles for it. I think they might even have the potential to get a 7-disc auto down, so we'll see how that works out. Another team, the mentioned 829, Digital Goats. Predicted to be pretty high in match wins, and they've done pretty well back in the Midwest area, so I look for them to do pretty good. 217 Thunder Chickens. Wow, what a year when you don't have them up in the top areas like that. But Thunder Chickens, the only thing I'm concerned with them is I don't know how much they're going to improve from Michigan championships to championships. Obviously, we'll see that, but you know, if they can get their full court shooter down, and even potentially more importantly, getting their climber down, they could be a good pick to go with. 1730 Team Driven is a team that I believe goes extremely underrated, especially kind of in the shadow of team number 1986. And I think they have a really good drivetrain, and I think there's a lot of capabilities for them to do quite well. Team 25 Raider Robotics, a little bit of issues this year with them, and has seated a little bit lower than usual, but they're a team that I think is going to have great potential to seed up in the rankings a little bit. Like I said, their OPR is a little bit low, but that's all right. Another team for honorable mention, team number 1511, Rolling Thunder. One of the things I see with them is that they are one of the few 30-point climbers and 20-point dumpers, and I think that with them that they could be a great second-round pick, potentially late, and they're going to get their autonomous mode down as well. So look for them potentially to be in the elimination matches. So I saw a couple things in chat about a couple teams I didn't mention. I knew this would come up, and I purposely mentioned full court shooters because of that. And one of the things, somebody mentioned 180. The unfortunate thing is I could not find any video of them for their second regional, so I couldn't make an accurate prediction of them, and if I can't make an accurate one, I don't feel comfortable saying it. But a couple of the full court shooter teams that might feel a little bit strange about not getting mentioned. To me, it's right now about your drivetrains. If you guys can lock down your drivetrains where you can get over quickly, I think that'll work out well. But keep in mind, championships, it's going to be raising that bar up to a higher level. So we'll see, you know, how well it works out. I'd love to see more full court shooters. They're exciting to watch. So hopefully you guys can get things kicking up and going well. Predictions. Overall, I think it's going to be quite interesting with the match schedule because everybody going into this said, you know, Titanium, 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 who, in my opinion, is one of the best teams in first, and particularly on Newton. It will be interesting to see how they end up seeding. With that said, though, I think that's a great chance for 2054 Tech Vikes to squeeze into that #1 seed, especially if they get the autonomous mode down. Couple other teams out there, 1538, I think was going to seed quite well. They seem to have a very good match schedule. And those teams, who they pick first and what strategies they take, I think are going to be quite interesting. If they're going to be picking a full court shooter, or if they're going to be picking a cycler, or if they're going to be picking somebody who climbs. So look forward to this and watch out other divisions. I believe Newton's going to have a much better shot than what you guys feel that they're going to have in Einstein. Back to you, Mike and Justin.
Awesome, Tyler.
Man. That was a
Thank
fantastic breakdown. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
That was great.
Your knowledge is vast. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Newton, maybe not as deep as some of the other divisions, even though you did lay out a very impressive list of very good teams. I think they have enough teams at the top end to really put a really strong alliance on Einstein. And in 1986, 1718, 1986, 2054, combine that with like a 217 at the end maybe, or 180, who knows, could be a really powerful alliance. You know, the only threat there without a super deep division is if a few teams get up there that can mess everything up.
I'm not sure he mentioned it, but 195 is out there too. They had major comm issues in Virginia. I think it was their first regional, Virginia maybe. Or kind of got off to a slow start, but then ended up winning Connecticut regional again. for 30 in a row. Is that three-peat we were talking
Yeah.
about? So they're a full court shooter, nice and high. They're another team to look out for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's just that's why we do the show, because like you look at the match list and some numbers stand out, but like Tower just ran through, Newton's is pretty deep. There's even teams like 1511 that are constantly working on their autonomous, and they'll have video. They have a teaser video on Chief Delphi that shows them getting better and climbing. So who knows? Keep your scouts scouting well. Because you never know who can step up and really get in there. So who do you want to go to next?
Want to do Unapalm next?
Yeah, let's hope that works.
You want to go back to Unapalm?
Hey. Okay, so I'm going to be doing Galileo. And, hold on. First, I'm going to put a link to my notes in the chat. And I'm going to try and mute my headphones. Alright. Okay, so when we start with Galileo, I think the big thing to look at is this is a really strong division. You have a lot of balance coming into here. You have your really good floor pickups like 118, and you have really strong full court shooters, and you have great cyclers. So I think this might have the most interesting divisional eliminations, or it could have the most predictable ones, depending on how qualifications go. So I'm going to sort of run through some of the strong full court shooters first. You've got 2169. They are really good, and if you haven't seen them, if you don't stop them from going to their feeder station, the match is pretty much done. They're really hard to block, and they have one of the most accurate full court shots. I'm pretty sure they are the best in FRC. Well, best so far considering match data. I'm sure someone might show them up at championships, but unless 2169 has some great plans. Next is 2485. They've been a little bit under the radar, but they had a really strong showing at Inland Empire while everyone was goggling over 254's Climber. They put up 207 points alone in the not alone, but in the finals with the 1538 and 968, and a lot of those were full court shots. They're one of those teams that they just get there and they just feed and they just go in, and they're going to be a really strong full court presence. Next is 1806. They paired up with 1986, I believe, in St. Louis. Well, they paired up with 1986, and they proceeded to dominate during those eliminations. Despite a somewhat weak drivetrain when it comes to defense, once they're in position, they can't be stopped with their shooting power. Then some of the more notable ones are 4334. They were mainly 2-point full court shooters, but they were one of those teams that was nearly all accurate on their shots. Once they were there, all those discs were becoming 2-pointers. And 4069, when they had their shot going, they had it going, and when they didn't, they tried to help feed 2056 at the Greater Toronto Regionals. Next, we have some of our floor pickup bots, like Team 118, obviously. Team 118 is really good. They released a teaser video, obviously, with a 30-point climb as well, but they had to scrap that for weight issues, but their floor pickup is just amazing. They can roll right over the discs, pick them up, load them into their hopper, and shoot them off. And they're probably going to be, if not the first seed, they're going to be very high up there. And we have on our list 842. They've been a little bit... They haven't gotten as much attention as they really should have, but their strong midline auto that they've shown in their videos and their 30-point climb will really push them over. And we have 1241. They have a really good 5-disc, I believe. They might have 7 discs now. 1477 has 7 discs. 1218 is 5 disc, but they had a really strong shouting, or they had a really strong show at Mar. And 2474 has a 5-disc, and they've been one of the greatest robots in MSC. And then we go to our list of cyclers. This is a really big list of cycling. 27, 111, 125, 192, 245, 610, 1114, 1241, 1425, 2175, 2729, and 4452. You just have a lot of cyclers in this division. They're ridiculous. You have 610 and 245, probably the strongest cyclers, and I won't be surprised if they're picked maybe 3rd or 4th, or even a 2nd pick if the stars align right, because these teams can score a lot of points. And so some of the more interesting strategies or alliances we might see in this division, I really want to see what an alliance of 3 full court shooters would look like. It has the potential to happen, though not really big, I guess. Not really a big chance. But it'd be interesting to see if 2169, 2485, and 1806, or 4334, or 4069 get on the same alliance, and see how that plays out. I think that would be one of the most potent combinations in first. Right? So I'm gonna start going over some of these bots that I would place my money on, as I said in my little sheet. If you're looking at the sheet, first there's 111. You can never forget about Wild Sting. They're always improving, always iterating their design, and they have a 5-disc autonomous, and they're just really solid. They're always solid at championships, and I won't be surprised to see them going very far. Then there's 1477. It took them 4 regionals to earn a place at the championships, but their 7-disc and floor pickup are just really good. The only reason that they haven't gotten a shot in their first 3 regionals was just bad luck. That's all you could blame it on. They have the robot to seed high and go far in the eliminations and the championships here, but they just need luck to be on their side this time. Next, 125. 125 is just a really dominant cycler. They won at Connecticut, I believe, and they did really well at Pine Tree and at Orlando, going to the finals in both of those, and they're really good. Just look out for 125. And then, like I've said, 2169, the best full court shooter out there. I think 948 and 2485 are the only ones that can really give them a run for their money, and 67. 2485, also really good. Watch out for these guys. They went sort of under the radar, and they're going to be really good. And 1241, also one of the really strong Canadian teams that showed up with a floor pickup, really strong cycle, and one of those teams that can just really go far in eliminations. And 245, they're also really strong. I had the chance to see them at Palmetto. Even there, they were dominant. The only team that was better than them was 11, and 11 was the strongest team there. And 245 and 11 paired up, and just they went on to win Palmetto, and then 245 went on to win with 469 at one of the Michigan districts. And then finally 2729, they're one of your Mar champions, and they have a very good cycling robot. They shoot quickly, accurately, and they can do a lot of things. Also, another team that deserves a shout out, 27. They're really strong at cycling. They're more of a chairman's-ish team, but they have a really strong robot as well, and they'll probably go far. If they might come back around on the Serpentine, be picked. So, some of the dark horses I have. I don't know why people don't really talk about 842 much. Ever since their release video, people talked about them when they released that insane 30-point climb. But after Arizona, they were sort of under the radar. But from their videos showing their midline auto, They've been really improving their shot too, and they're actually one of those robots that I think they can go really far. If they can get that midline auto, they can put up as many points as 11-14, because they have a 50-point dump. They have that climb that's really quick, and they have a floor pickup capability, something that 11-14 doesn't have. I think if the stars align right, 842 could perhaps end up being either first or second pick. And then 2337, they haven't been seen as a strong shooter, but their drivetrain is on another level. If you have full court shooters like 2169 and 2485 against you, you want 2337 to stop them, or you want 2337 to be on your side if you're 2169 or 2485 to stop any defenders from trying to get rid of you. 2337 is just really good at playing defense, and they have autonomous capabilities, and they can shoot, so they can do a lot of things, and really versatile on the field. So those are just my dark horses, 842 and 2337. Those two should, if they slip under the gaps, you can expect a powerhouse alliance to form in the end. And then, obviously, you have your teams that I put on my list. I would put all my money on, like 11-14, obviously. I think 11-14 has the best robot in all first. And OPR tells a story, and just looking at their machine, it's fast. They can cycle quickly. They have a fast 30-point climber. That's 254 is the only one that has a faster one. They have that dump, and they're just really good, really, really good. And a lot of people are saying they'll seed first. They could if they go undefeated. If another team goes undefeated, like 118, I don't think they'll seed first. But if they're not the first pick, then that alliance captain that didn't pick them must have some sort of strategy. Because honestly, I think if you don't pick 11-14 as your first pick, then something is wrong with you. And then 610, they've always been in the shadow of 11-14 and 2056, but this year they've really given themselves a new identity. They've done so well. Like they were the driving force behind the win at BAE. They went to the finals of Waterloo, I believe. Yeah, Waterloo, and they went in were close to beating 11-14 in 2056. Their drivetrain is just ridiculous. If you've seen if you've seen 610 in action, their driver can just pull out so many defensive maneuvers, and they can just roll right around defense. Their drivetrain's versatile. Their cycling ability is unmatched. I think in week 1 they were doing 7 cycles. That's insane. 7 cycles. I don't think any other team has that capability that 610 has. They're just the best cycler in the world. And also they have full court capability. If they go unblocked, they can just unleash those full court shooters, either helping their floor pickup partners or just scoring themselves. And then we have 118 as our lock. 7-disc auto, full court shot capability, and a strong cycling machine. 118 can do it all except 30-point climb, but they might pull one out depending on their weight issues. But I think barring a schedule gap, we'll probably see 118 as either the first or the second seed, because they're just that good. That 7-disc autonomous does wonders for them, and their floor pickup is really quick, and their machine is accurate from almost anywhere on the field. So, just some special shoutouts, I guess. Team 70, I don't know much about you, but I think your floor pickup looks pretty good for autonomous. I think you guys will do really well, along with 192. You guys look really strong for cycling. 1425, you guys should also go pretty far. They won with 1983 at one of the Northwest Regionals. And 4452, they're a strong rookie team with a great cycling machine. I saw them at Peachtree. They paired up with 624, and and defense really killed their chances in the semis there. But 4452 is one of those teams that, if they also fall in the gaps, they could be a great third robot because of their cycling ability. Alright, I guess it's back to you, Mike and Justin.
Hey.
All
right.
He's back in our...
Thanks, Anupam.
Yeah, great job, man. That was great. So he said one thing that I really thought would be interesting to talk about after, and the kind of people in the chat didn't always agree, but I think 3 full court shooters would be an interesting combo.
Yeah, I agreed with that.
So and everyone's like, there's not enough discs. Maybe, but if you can imagine 3 full court shooters like parked, right, and then you have like an Olympic sprinter as your human player, and then whoever their lone blocker tries to block, right? You just run the disc to the other side. You're just running back and forth to bypass, their blocker. I think that'd be really cool to see.
That would be really cool to see. I mean, if you make all threes, I know some of those full court shooters are only shooting 2s, but I mean, you reckon up some good points there. So plus any hanging you can do. I don't know.
Right, you could set up 2 blockers if your alliance has 2 blockers, but if you only have one,
you're not scoring. Those 2 aren't scoring. So that's pretty interesting. I thought it was a good thought. And I guess one of my picks, not necessarily a dark horse because they did really well at MSC. It was 23-37, just between their autonomous and then their just beefy drivetrain. I think that'd be a great second pick. By the third, second, first alliance, if they're looking for them still. But
so I got a bad joke ready. I'm gonna call it Galileo.
Oh, did you come up with this? I saw this.
Galileo.
Wait. I was gonna type it in for everybody so you can see. I got it. Is that right?
Galileo? Galileo. Just because 11-14, 6-10, 12-41, 28-09, 43-34. Like there's
funny.
5 really good Canadian teams that are really gonna be a force, forcing Galileo. So, but I think 11-14, 118 alliance is inevitable, pending a favorable match schedule for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And watching those 2 play together, I think would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Especially if they, everyone's kind of waiting to see what 118 does with their 3-point climb.
Yeah.
But to see 2 corner climbers, maybe in unison or close to, that'd be really cool.
Like what we saw at MSC before.
But I know it's the biggest no duh thing in the world, but that's what I love about championship. Like you see 11-14 dominating their region, 118 dominating their region, and then you get to see them come together and potentially play together. Mm-hmm. And the excitement and the skill just gets elevated so much. That's just the greatest thing.
Good Aaron.
Aaron's bored.
Aaron's bored.
Oh, that's an awesome shirt.
We can see everybody's preview still. So Aaron was just...
Jim has an awesome shirt. Maybe I'll show it. All right. So speaking of Jim Zondag, he is going to talk about the Archimedes division for us. We're really excited he's here, and we spent 10 minutes getting everything working with him earlier, so hopefully everything is good now. And here's Jim.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Looks a little delayed. First off, check this out. A friend of mine has a t-shirt shop here. So we showed him the banners after one of the events, and he thought it'd be cool to make a t-shirt, so he spun a couple of these. Awesome. So guys, I still got about a 10-second delay, so I'm just gonna go on a monologue here. So starting off with Archimedes, the big thing with Archimedes is, man, I gotta take my headphones out because I can't even, this drives me crazy. Okay, so the big thing with Archimedes, everybody's talking, oh, Archimedes, the field is so deep. It's true. the thing to take away from Archimedes is it's really anybody's game. We can put together a whole bunch of fantastic alliances out of this group, and it looks like it's all going to come down to the qualifying schedule and who manages to seed first as to what really happens. So let's talk about some of the teams. First and foremost, let's talk about the Las Guerrillas. Las Guerrillas, you know them, you love them. They work right across the street from us just about. Their school's a couple miles from here, and they are categorically one of the best teams in the world. They have won the Michigan State Championship 2 times in a row. They went to 4 events this year. They finished first in all 4 of them. They were captain, #1 seed twice, and #2 seed twice. They went undefeated at 2 of their districts, going 12-0 in qualifying. So just an absolutely phenomenal team. They got a great floor pickup. They can do up to 7 cycles in a match. They tend to play a cycling game, but they can do a floor pickup game and a full court shooter game. So, I mean, they're really all-around versatile team. They don't have a 30-point climb, but it doesn't really seem to hurt their scores. They routinely score over 100 points a match themselves. And head-to-head with a team like 2056, I'm not sure how I would even call that. They're both just phenomenal. So I think, you know, if there's a winning alliance coming out of Archimedes, there's strong likelihood that Las Guerrillas are going to be on it. Next, I want to talk about 987, the High Rollers from Las Vegas. Great team. I think a lot of you saw their cool Motley Crue video. They can shoot from anywhere on the floor. They got a great ground pickup. They can floor load. They can shoot full court. Again, very, very versatile machine. No climb and dump, but they pretty much can play a very, very fast floor game and can shoot from anywhere on the court. Looks like they got pretty much automated targeting. I never actually asked them, but it looks like they move in and fire faster than just about anybody, and it doesn't seem to matter where they are. One of the only turrets that I see in this game from a short shooter. Next on my list, here, I should probably look at the camera. Hey guys, I need better like web setup here. I feel like I'm looking down and. So anyway, Team Nemesis. You know, they won Mid-Atlantic Regional, #1 seed Mid-Atlantic Regional. They are just another just fast and furious machine. They have the After the Buzzer Hang. They got a great autonomous mode. They can do the seven disc autonomous mode, and you know, they got a 5 disc autonomous mode. So again, they're just a fantastic machine, and I think they're a strong contender in this division as well. Again, all these guys, it's really going to come down to which one of them seeds first, and which one of them they pick for each other. Next on my list, Tech Hounds, Carmel, Indiana. They won Boilermaker. They were #1 pick at Boilermaker. And they were #1 pick at Crossroads. They were captain at Crossroads. I'm sorry. They won both of their events. And they started off a little soft, but I mean, they have a OPR of 78, and they do cycles almost as fast as anybody I've ever seen. They load faster than almost anything I've ever seen. And they can really just tear the field up. So them coupled with any of these great floor pickup machines, I think would be a fantastic combination. They're a run and gun kind of machine. They don't pick up from the floor, but they're just crazy fast at doing what they do, and they do it really well. They can, you know, they 10-point hang, and they can shoot while they're hanging. We've seen that, which is kind of a little cool finale. Let's see. Let's talk about the Cheesy Poofs. The Cheesy Poofs kind of started off a little bit slow this year. They did not have their hanger working at their first event, but by their second event, boy, they were really tearing it up. They probably have the fastest 30-point climb in the FRC. So about 6 seconds in the video they showed, and watching some of their match video, it doesn't look too far off of that. They have the highest climb OPR in our division. And at their second event in California, it looked like they were climbing just about every match and taking the 30 just about every time. So they have a great floor pickup. They can do a 7-disc Auton. You know, Pat Fairbank told me last weekend at Vex Worlds that they have a centerline Auton. So I expect them to really be a really strong contender for the lead in this. I really think that they're a really good pick to be matched with the #1 seed, because most of the other teams that are contenders to seed really high do not have a 30-point climber. So I think that may separate them. So really the 30-point climbers in our division, there are some, but there are not tons. So we don't have Symbotics or Hot in our division. So Cheesy Boots are probably the closest thing. Okay. Next one, full court shooter, NRG 948. Tall full court shooter, no ground pickup. Pretty much they go and they line up and they full court shoot, but they're very good accuracy. They do a lot of delivery. You know, they got an OPR of 75, so they're very, very good at what they do. They do not climb at all, so that may end up being a liability, but we'll have to see. Let's see. Moving on down my list. Hey, 33 Killer B is my own team. I don't like to talk that much about my own team, but but we have a great floor pickup. We have a 7-disc Auton. We have a 5-disc Auton. We have one of the most reliable Autons in the FRC. And we'd be a really good match with a full court shooter or anybody with a run and gun game. And we've won 3 discs so far this year, and we lost to the state champion in the semifinals of the state championship. So great all-around team. Gale Force 126. Gale Force, short fast cycler. Probably the only thing I don't really see on Gale Force is they don't really have an advanced autonomous mode, and of course they're strictly a cycler, but they do it very fast. They're a Mecanum robot, so they're nimble. I have not really seen defense applied to them really at all. I'm not sure if my thing is frozen here. My view is frozen, so nope, I'm still on in your view. So I'll keep talking. But Gale Force, you know, former world champion back in the day, and always a good bet. You know, they've got an OPR somewhere in the 70s. You know, in our division, it's really quite something. You know, we have 22 teams with OPRs above 50 in this division. So it's very possible that some of these teams that would normally be alliance captains at some of the regionals and districts they go to will end up being third round back end picks on the Archimedes eliminations. Really pretty astounding. We got 9 teams with peak OPRs above 70, which is pretty impressive. And that's really where the hump is. We put that graph out after the divisions came out, and there's a hump. And the key point of the hump is, I think this division is harder to call a lock on because the top 5 groups are all going to be fairly equally matched. And so I think it's really hard to call a lock in this division for me. I would say just all around, just based on the fact that I've had to play a couple tournaments with Las Gorillas. We won one with them. We lost one to them. You know, personally, Las Gorillas they're good. They're one of they may actually be the hardest working team in the FRC, and betting against them is usually a bad idea. So I really like them. Let's talk about a couple of maybe lesser known teams. One that I really like in this division, and I think is a bit of a dark horse, is 3467 Wyndham, the Wyndham Windup. And they run fast cycles. They get a bunch of cycles in. They always hit their Auton. And then they climb the pyramid for a 30-point climber, usually in about 20-25 seconds. So they really can put some points up because they can play both aspects of the game. They're really not strictly a climber. and their record looks really good here. Hold on, let me see. You know, I have never actually met them in person, so I don't know them. But they played at BAE and Pine Tree, and they got really much better at Pine Tree. They were the #1 pick at Pine Tree, and they won. Okay, Canadian Dark Horse, 1334, the Red Devils. I kind of like them. They do their auton. They run a bunch of cycles and they climb. Again, similar to Wyndham, but they climb and dump. So they make it up to the top and they dump. So if you leave them alone, they'll put 50 points on the tower. They get 18 in auton a lot, and they often get a couple cycles in there too. So, you know, some of my Canadian friends said they're defensible, but I didn't really see a lot of defense being played on them in the matches I watched. So I was, you know, I think they're really somebody to watch here. Let's see who another full court shooter, Mechanical Mayhem, 1519. I like 1519. I think full court shooters may come into play in this division, but what we really saw at Michigan State Championship that makes me question that is even with a lot of like cycler robots, you can actually run out of discs in the player station without having a full court shooter on your alliance. And the real thing with full court shooters is if you don't have a tall one, 1519 is a tall one, which is an asset, but some of the shorter ones, you can defend them just with a 60-inch tall robot. So there is a pretty big hole in the full court shooter strategy if you don't apply a defense cutoff man to it. So it's hard for me to say whether that'll come into play. It's really going to depend on the combination of robots that comes out of it. Another one to talk about, Team 11 Mort. So they're pretty solid. They run cycles pretty much. They can. Hold on, I'm getting my notes mixed up here. I get so many notes. I take so many notes on FRC, but they played four different events this year. Palmetto, and then Mid-Atlantic Championship, and then 2 of the districts out there. They won 2 of those events. Palmetto, they won with 245 in Palmetto, and then they won again at Mount Olive. So a sure bet on Mort. And then let's see who else. Team 20. Team 20. I like Team 20. A lot of people were kind of down on Team 20. They exclusive floor pickup. So some people were kind of knocking that strategy, but we saw with Biting Bulldogs at the state championship that that's good enough to win the Michigan State Championship. So don't count them out. They can. They have a 4-disc front pyramid auton, which may work with some of the backline auton guys, but they have an exclusive floor pickup and fast little robot. I like that robot. Let's see, maybe another dark horse to talk about. They kind of got boxed out at the Michigan State Championship, but 2959, the Robotarians. They were really accurate shooter. Again, a run and gun short cycler. No climb above 10 points. They pretty much always hang for 10 points. They pretty much always hit their 18. I really think their liability with them is they chose to make a wide robot. So I think they're easier to defend. So when the defense really cranked up at MSC, they kind of their numbers really dropped really fast. So I think that might have been the problem with them. But I don't know. So I think that they have a strong potential if they up their game a little bit. They have a OPR of 55 and coupled with another good team, they could really do some damage. Let's see. Let's talk about a couple of full court shooters on this division. 314 Megatron Oracles. This team for years has really not been very impressive, but this year it looks like they got the equation right. I believe they were a finalist at Detroit. Here, let me check for a minute. Yeah, they were a finalist at Detroit. They didn't get picked at States, which actually kind of surprised me. the top couple alliances seem to pick more out of the defense category, but I think 314 had to be close to bubbling near the top of the pick list when we ran out at 24 at MSC. If you let them get into position, they're probably about 75% accurate on the full court shooting task, and they can run and gun too. So they can play both sides of the game. They don't have a floor pickup or anything like that, and probably their biggest liability is as a full court shooter, they're only shooting from about 4 feet off the ground. So they can be blocked fairly easily by defense. Still, solid robot, good drivetrain, moves fast, very, very good. Team Torque, 2137. Again, they can do cycles as well as full court. They are pretty accurate from full court. However, probably their biggest thing is they're top heavy. So we saw them tip over a couple times at MSC. They did end up making it into elims, but I think that's a tough bet depending on how stable they are and whether they've made any changes to improve that. I really kind of like, believe it or not, as another kind of sleeper. They had a good reputation last year and the last couple of years. 973 to Greybots. Again, they're a fast cycler, no advanced auton. Well, they claim to have a 5-disc centerline auton, although I haven't actually witnessed it. They mainly run cycles, but can flick up from the floor. And I think that they have a potential to up their game. We've seen them increase late in the season in the past years, and I would expect nothing less. Another one I want to shout out to is team never to be underestimated, Team 71. Yeah, they were a 4-time world champion back in the day, and they seem to always have a habit of making it to the finals in elims at the championship. They haven't gotten to Einstein recently, but they had a really solid entry last year. This year they got a solid 30-point climber. They always hit their auton. So they're good for 50 points all the time. Another possible dark horse, is this team is the most experienced team in the FRC at this point. Team 3314. The Mechanical Mustangs. They have played 5 events already and are going to their 6th. They kept getting better all season, however, they did not get picked to play in elims at the MAR, which is kind of strange, but they've got an OPR of 45.7 and looks like a pretty strong entry. Definitely have a lot of experience on the field. So again, to reiterate, I think in this division, to talk now about maybe what's going to happen, it's really going to come down to the qualifying schedule. If we believe the qualifying schedule that we see, a lot of the best teams look like they will not go undefeated. Almost all the best teams in my review look like they have at least one match that they can lose. If the schedule is actually true, our team 33, we have to play against both the Las Gorillas, who are rated number 1 coming into our division, and 987, who's ranked number 2. Both of those matches are pretty close on paper. So we could lose 2, we could win both of them, I don't know. Looking down the list, just about everybody in these teams I've highlighted has a schedule like that. Nemesis actually looks like they have a very difficult schedule if this schedule sticks, and we'll have to see how that if that ends up being true or not. I really think winning in elims is really going to largely come down to autonomous, just like it did at MSC. Gorillas and Biting Bulldogs and Thunder Chickens together put up a 90-point autonomous. And I don't see any reason why Gorillas are in this division, and with any one of these partners that they can't do the same. A lot of these teams have been actively working on centerline autonomouses. So coupled together with any combination of 987, 469, 33, who else? 2590. So there's a lot of these teams who could put together a pretty killer 90-point autonomous if they happen to hit accurately. I really did not spend a lot of time trying to research defensive specialists. I'll be honest. I was at Vex Worlds. I came back Sunday. It's only been like 2 days since I've had a chance to research this. So I haven't spent a lot of time talking about defense. We've got a pretty big crop of rookies. We got 15 rookies in our division. Some of them are actually numerically look quite weak. Well, but that's fairly normal. So there's a pretty big spread. Once you get out of the top 10, our division and the other divisions look like they're pretty much on par all the way down. And I would say, it's hard to say, but, I don't think that our division can maybe take the same tact as, say, a division that has Symbotics or Hot in it. So, 3467 and then the Cheesy Poofs are probably the likely contenders to be on one of the top alliances and be an anchor as a climber. And I really think, if I were to bet, I'd say the Poofs are a pretty strong bet just because they can bring an extra 30 points into the game that I think nobody else with that kind of shooting ability really has to bring. So, and of course, I always like the Poofs because they have a knack for winning, which is really good. But again, to reiterate, I really think it's a toss-up. Like if you put any combination of 469, 987, 868, 254, 2590, 948, 33, 3467, and a couple other ones that you can put just a deadly alliance together with any pair of any two of those. And it's really hard for me to say who's going to win. And I think that's what's going to be the fun thing about Archimedes. It's going to be great because it's kind of unpredictable. I can't really say there's a lock in this division that I think I know what's going to happen and I think I know who's going to win. And that's the exciting part, isn't it? That's really what's going to make it a great competition. So that's probably my 25 cents on what's going on Archimedes. I apologize for sounding like I got a speech impediment. I've got a 5-second time delay in my headphones that's literally driving me insane. So, but it's I think I'm really looking forward to Champs this year. I want to just say that I really want to applaud the game design committee for making a really kick-ass game. It's one of the best ones I've ever played in 18 years of FRC and lots of other robotic competitions. So I think they did a really good job of balancing the task and making a game that was fun to engineer, fun to play, and fun to watch. So I really think the finals this year will be probably one of the most, television-worthy type events that we've had in a long, long time. So, and just want to put, again, a little pitch out to High Octane Designs here. Where am I? My camera has such a narrow field of view. There we go. High Octane Designs. What am I doing? See, everything is in. I'm like in a time warp here. There we go. High Octane Designs, who made this sweet FRC banner shirt, which we'll have some Killer Bees sporting these at the World Championship, and then they will we'll get you contact information, and we can get more of these made if people really want. So I think they're cool. We will provide information on where we can source those for anybody who wants to get one. We'll have a few in the Killer Bees pit in the Archimedes division. Hey, so back over to you, Mike and Justin.
Very good, Jim. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jim. That was great.
Those shirts are awesome.
They are. I think those are the back. Because I think I saw the front had just a little first logo in there on the
it's classy.
chest. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jim, for
we
breaking that
appreciate
down.
Jim coming on. He's a guy I respect a lot as a drive coach that I look up to a lot. And I remember coaching my first one of the first matches at championship with him in 2009 against 148. And that was a cool experience for me. He's very no, we did not win.
I'm sure we did not.
I remember we played pretty well, but I remember oh man, I don't know who our alliance partner was, but 148, if they rolled by that year, if they got you, man, they could fill your trailer in seconds. And we escaped 148, and Jim's yelling, great escape, and then the other team didn't escape, and Jim just yells, they're killing they're killing you. Oh, it was so great. I'll remember that forever. That was awesome. But yeah, I respect him a ton, and he deserves a pat on the back too. I know he's part of the Vex Game Design Committee, and Toss Up looks really cool too. So
by 8 points.
Hope we can talk some more at champs.
That's funny. Thanks, Jim. So Galileo. No, that's not Galileo. What did we just do?
We did Archimedes.
Archimedes. What you gotta say? Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that was a great coverall. Except I have to shout out to a local team, 3003. They're a team that has a good pyramid shot from the ground, and they have they can get really tall as a blocker as well. So they might have a shot to sneak on one of these alliances too.
You said 3003.
Yeah. But 987, 469, and 33, I think are kind of gonna be fighting for. I think fighting for whoever, however 254 seeds. I really think that fast 30-point climb is going to end up being the difference, and then kind of whoever they want to play with. But I would love to see 987 33. We saw in that video that they posted, 97 has that full court ability, and then with
that would be 15 disc.
Yeah,
you can 33 can grab the 7, and the 97 can grab them from the middle. I mean, that would be great.
Yeah,
so that'd be a good matchup.
So there's one more thing I want to talk about before we sign off here, and that's the championship matches, or the lack of matches at championship. I know a lot of teams are disappointed only to have 8 matches at championships, and I kind of agree. Like, that's not.
They're killing you.
It was so funny. They're killing you. It was great. But anyway, so only 8 matches. Just you don't even get to see like half the teams in your division. It's just not a great. It's not a great metric. I know Karthik's been a big proponent of, or his breakdown of how to get more matches was really feasible and realistic. And I don't know what the proper channel is. I know that based on Frank's blog, he reads, they do read Chief Delphi, so I'm sure they're aware of our unhappiness. But I hope that they can figure out a way to sneak it.
Is the way to make it up is releasing that match schedule?
What do you mean?
Like, oh, you only have 8 matches, but here's the match schedule ahead of time.
It's just
I don't know.
It's just how they left too much time for field reset. And like Karthik said, just 15 minutes. 15 minutes later here, 15 minutes later here. That just to get a few more minutes of time is all you need to get everyone one more match.
So, the statistic, I guess the exact statistic was 40% you see of your division.
Yeah, that's
and then the way these match schedules will work out, a lot of times you see the same people. Sometimes.
Yeah, occasionally you even see the same
you
person.
You win and against them, so. But thank you again to Jim, Anupam, Aaron, and Tyler for webcasting in tonight, guys. That was awesome. We appreciate it. Thanks for everybody for sticking with us through our things. So, a couple points here that we can talk about before we sign off for today it's called One Fun Boston that Team 126 will be doing in St. Louis. So there's a thread on Chief Delphi you can check out. It's called One Fund Boston Collection. They're raising money for Boston, and so you can check that out. And if you're interested in helping out, you can check that out on Chief Delphi.
Can you post that in the chat, maybe?
Yeah.
I knew we were going to get asked for our predictions. So I think the third pick, or the second pick, we call it the third pick, even though it's not the third pick. The third robot or second pick, I think, is really hard to say because you never really know.
So there's a link for One Fund.
Never really know. So I'm going to say out of Galileo, it's going to be 1114 and 118. Out of Newton, it's going to be 1986 and 1718. Out of Curie, it's going to be 2056 and 67. And out of Archimedes, I think it's going to be 987 and 33. So.
What was your Curry pick? Curry?
Curry, 2056 and 67. And then I think that Curie's going to be...
Again, it's just like I haven't seen Skunkworks that much. So, I mean, that's really going to be...
Yeah.
We'll see what they do.
I think Curie's going to be Archimedes and Galileo is going to be Newton. And I think Anupam kind of nailed it. It's going to be 2056 versus 1114 on Einstein. So it'd be a great moment for First Canada, for sure. But really testing the... that would be...
Yeah.
Insane, because I know how badly. I mean, all teams that get to Einstein want it bad, but I think those two teams especially
after last year and everything.
Yeah. So clash of the Titans. Oh, and Jim also made a great point. This game should be televised. He nailed it. This is an exciting game to watch. It's easy to understand for people. It's visually stimulating. I really love how Michigan stepped up to do that, and I really wish. We said it last year. We had the same exact conversation. Michigan at their state championship is doing it right, and I don't understand why it's so hard for our world championship to have something like that. Like, look at us. Yeah. We love doing this, obviously. We would love to be a part of that. Yeah. There are dozens of people who would also love to be a part of that. Have first give us some equipment, right? Supply the equipment, and we'll take care of everything else, right?
So.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be, here's the stuff, let it go. Like, it would just be a separate entity. Like, they put in charge people. Okay, you're going to handle volunteers. You're going to handle queuing. You're going to handle VIPs. You know, just be, okay, you handle this. You know, make it happen. And here's your budget or here's your whatever. And make it happen.
Kevin, MSCSPN.
So, one thing I wanted to talk about was the new practice field setup and practice matches on the practice field. What do you think? I can share what I think.
I like it. Practice matches should be on the practice field, just because I think it gives you a realistic chance to run your robot through a match. If you're testing out mechanisms, go to the smaller regional practice field setups that they have. Right? The practice field is not for testing mechanisms. The practice field is for practice matches. Mm-hmm. That's how I think it should be. I think there's a filler line on the practice field. So if you're not...
I think it was like 3 at a time, so it's going to be like a really long line.
Right, but if you're not satisfied with how many matches you are, hang on the filler line for a while. If you want to test mechanisms, test them in your pit or on the regional practice field. I think
there's going to be a pyramid at the right length to the goal. It's just like, and we brought up, if you're at championship, it means you've been through at least one event. And did well at that event, unless you're there like for champions or something. So I love how they split practice day in half, and I think this is great. Like, this is supposed to be championship. Like, you're supposed to, it's, I don't know. It's just, I think once you get to championship, obviously we've needed that time to retune. We've brought in new mechanisms and changed it out. Everybody needs that time, but this is time to step it up, and it's, in my opinion, it's championship. So, like, bring your A game. Stop mamaing and just deal with it. I think it's great. It's better for volunteers. You know how much stuff volunteers have to go through in the practice field. Just like people that are there too long, people that show up late, people that are rude, it's just a nightmare. So having some more formal things, I think, is just the way to go. And maybe it'll be a little bit busier instead of having I don't know, maybe they would have one practice field for 2 divisions worth. So you would only have 2 pyramids at a time anyway. now you only have one, I think, for two divisions because you only have that little practice area. But I mean, you got to take it as it comes, and I don't know. I'm for it, and I think it'll bring just more. I don't know, more not chaos to the environment. But we'll see how it goes.
So here's what I'm going to suggest, and this is what I would like to see maybe going forward, is Wednesday have light inspections, right? Like you already mentioned, we've already been through one event with your robot. You were fully inspected at that event. I think there's enough gracious professionalism in first where it should be light inspections on Wednesday at championship. Therefore, Thursday morning, we can hit the ground running with qualifications. No practice matches. Have your practice matches at the same time as your qualification matches, right? So Thursday morning you have 2 qualification matches, then you're in the practice field in the pits for a practice match. So, because people said that you can't, you need time. You need to have practice matches to give time for inspectors, right? You've already been inspected. Have a light inspection process that's basically, hey, did you change anything? No, you're done. Here's your sticker. Did you change anything? Yes, it was this. Inspect it. You're done. Get it done Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, all day qualifications. No problem. Everyone gets 10, if not 11 matches between all day Thursday, all day Friday, and Saturday morning. I don't understand why that's an issue.
They are doing full inspections on Wednesday? I don't know.
But not everyone has to be. You don't have to be done.
Yeah.
Right? I hate that I can't keep up with the chat.
If you go to this view, you get more of a. You don't have to scroll through. But I don't know. You're at championship. I mean, look at 11-14. Look at 2056. Look at 1983. Look at all the people from MSC. A lot of people from MAR. They've been through 3 or 4 events. It's just you should not necessarily need that practice time to get like your panties in a bunch. About it is not worth it. It's like you guys should be at the level you have made a championship. You should be at that level ready to compete. And I don't know. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. And, I mean, first does things for a reason, and I think just go with it. You're a championship. So,
the biggest problem I have is that it costs, on average, $20,000, if not, I guess on average. I guess more or less. But $20,000 to go to championship for 8 matches is completely unacceptable. Everyone should get 10 at least. Find a way to do it. Mm. That's what it's all about. People want it. People build robots to play matches. That's all they want. Everything else is BS. Get them more matches. 8 is unacceptable.
Yeah. I don't know how we always get to this point. We get worked up about something, but I don't know. I think whether just, like you said, if there's a way to do the algorithm where you can get one practice match on the practice field before you have qualification, which is almost impossible because somebody needs to have practice match. Unless you have a practice match with maybe like, this, whatever, 6, 12, 18 teams, so you can run 3 practice matches first of the day, and then those teams can then head out to the dome, for their first match or something. I don't know how that could work out, but but I think you're right. 8 matches. I mean, that goes back to last year we had 9. You said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still looking at it now because I mean, if you have one bad match or something, I mean, you're, it's not local mile, but in the same point, it's championship. I guess so. But I agree. Like, I don't think 8 is enough. Some of these teams are getting 12 qualification matches, and then to come to championship and only have 8.
I don't know. Gotta change the system.
Look at this tweet we got. So, I don't know. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
How do you feel about the practice or the schedule that has come out that is unofficial but is looking to be official?
I think it's cool. I mean, I'm always upset on Thursday night when I don't have a practice schedule or a qualification still for Friday at regionals. I want it as early as possible. I mean, for people that I guess maybe are new or rookies or first year teams, listen to what Jim just did, and that's all information he has because he's prepping, he's pre-scouting for the championship event. If you're not doing that right now, you're already getting beat by them. Not to mention the robot's probably better, right? They're constantly working hard, and the more information you give these teams, the more they can do with it. I think it's a great thing that they should continue doing. Like we kind of mentioned earlier on Chief Delphi, the only reason why we hope it's preliminary is because they're looking for a way to add more matches. If they're not going to add more matches in the future, it should not be preliminary. Put it out there and say this is how it's going to be. But anyway, to end on a more positive note, Mike and I are really looking forward to Championship. It's going to be a great event.
Yeah.
We're going to be all over the place around. Please find us. We love talking to you. Come get stickers.
We even planned like a lunch or something, or like a meetup this year.
No,
But
we have to meet up with Karthik and Meredith
yes.
for their snacks. We didn't forget.
So, he's been so excited. So yeah, we'll be around definitely. We're still looking forward to it. Again, I'll be in Thursday, probably right when qualification matches start. That's probably the time I'll be able to get to the Dome. You'll see Pat, Justin, and Kristen on Friday morning. So we'll connect sometime in the next couple of days to try to organize some of these segments we'll be doing.
Yep, we appreciate the emails we've gotten so far. But again, if you want to be kind of what do they call that? The subject of one of our segments, please send us an email. We'll be happy to organize that and set that up. But aside from that, I'm all set. You?
That's it.
Have safe travels to Championship, everyone, and we will see you on Thursday.
Have
Good
a
night.
great night. We'll see you later.